Well, that is because we actually have a couple games in the SEC East that, depending on how things end up shaking out in the SEC East over the course of this weekend, in a couple of games in particular, all of a sudden we might have an SEC East championship on the horizon. Let's go and start with the game that is going to be happening a little bit earlier in today. We have number 13 Tennessee. We're going to end up going on the road and taking on the number 14 ranked Missouri Tigers. Now, Missouri has just lost their second game of the season. So, for all intents and purposes, they are out of the college football playoff race and they are now out of going to Atlanta. There's no foreseeable path for, say, Missouri to surpass Georgia because Georgia does have the tiebreaker on Missouri, but they can still put themselves in a position to go to a New Year's Six Bowl. So a lot of what Missouri wants to accomplish this upcoming season is still in the works. It can still happen. However, for Tennessee, even though they are not really in a position to go to the college football playoff either, that loss to Florida in September is really coming back to haunt them right now. All of a sudden, this Tennessee team, if the cards fall right, they can put themselves in a position to compete for the opportunity to go to Atlanta this upcoming week. Let me explain. So Tennessee right now, like you saw on the screen earlier, they are a couple games back from Georgia. However, Georgia, on the other hand, has to go play Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is a really good team. That's not a scratch and dub by any means. We'll talk about that game more later. So that being considered, Tennessee could put themselves in a spot to where all of a sudden their chance to go to Atlanta lays right in front of them and they can control their own destiny. But they got to win this game and they got to be able to make sure that, hey, they got to play their cards right, so to speak. So that being said, huge, huge, huge game coming in your direction. And it's going to be a fun one. I am going to be extremely excited about that particular game. So, that being said, what should we watch out for in this particular matchup? Now, the last time these two teams happened to go ahead and, well, play each other, well, I guess it would be last year. I don't know where I was going with that. But that being said, Missouri might have their best defense in years. They're going to be taking on a Tennessee team where, you think of Tennessee, you think of, okay, they like to throw the ball around and like to have these all like really explosive plays. I mean, this is not that same Tennessee team. We talked about it a couple of times this year already, but Tennessee is just not like that. They love to run the ball, but Missouri is built to stop the run. Missouri, they're in the top 25 nationally in terms of defending the run. And then in addition to that, they are fifth in the SEC right now. So Missouri is pretty battle tested in terms of, okay, we can stop them in the run. And it begs the question, can this Tennessee passing game be a factor? Can that be an actual possibility? Because Joe Milton the third, he's had his flashes. And if you look at his stats, he's not, it's not like he's not an incompetent quarterback. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, has thrown for over 2,000 yards with a 65% completion percentage. It's truly, he's not bad by any means. But can Joe Milton come out and win the game? Now that is the real question that is at hand. Can Joe Milton provide himself with the ability, if he needs to make enough plays and win the game? Because on the other side, Brady Cook, well, just like his last name, he was cooking. In the one positive that last time these two teams met, Tennessee did win in Knoxville, but Brady Cook played pretty well in that game. 221, 3 touchdowns, also ran for over 100 yards. And he's taken that step up this year. Brady Cook has thrown for close to 2,500 yards already, 16 touchdown passes, and only 5 interceptions on the year. So he's taken really that step up when he really has needed to. So that being said, how do they counteract that? Because I think it's going to be more important than anything. And Tennessee has been pretty good at this over the course of the season, is starting quickly. And in the first quarter, Tennessee has done that so far this year. 89-29, they have outscored their opponents in the first quarter of the season. And they have also scored at least 1 touchdown in the first quarter of games in 31 of 35 games that Coach Heupel has been on the sideline for this Tennessee Volunteers squad. They've only been shut out once this season. Granted, it was a complete surprise when they only won by 17 against an FCS team. So against FBS opponents, they have always managed to score in the first quarter. And given how this Tennessee team is built, I think it's really important for them to start fast because of how they kind of not rely on the running game, but they certainly have leaned on that running game a little bit more than what they've had done in previous seasons. So, that being said, let's say Missouri throws those first punches, and all of a sudden Joe Milton III has to throw the ball a little bit more. Well, that's not how they want to play their games this season, because Joe Milton has the arm, but that neck up mentality, not necessarily sure if he really has that. At least not the same level that Hendon Hooker had when he was playing at Missouri last year. But likewise, it's not even that like Missouri is going to have one of those they're not going to be able to walk over Tennessee, obviously. Tennessee, they do have one of the best pass defenses in the country, or not one of the best pass defense. They've been okay, but they just lost their corner Kamal Hayden in that loss to Alabama a couple of weeks ago. How do they replace that so that Brady Cook doesn't cook on them? So I'm looking at this game, and I think there's a lot that could go into it. Right now, the line as of last night is Tennessee minus 1.5. And the model has Tennessee minus 9.5. So the model gives a lot more respect to Tennessee than what Vegas is giving Tennessee right now. But I'm thinking about, okay, Missouri can really stop the run, and that is Tennessee's main strength. Missouri's biggest strength, however, on offense is passing the ball. And they're also going to be the team that is going to not a vulnerable, I would say, pass defense. Their pass defense is fine. If I can find where Tennessee lands in terms of passing yards a game, I just saw it. Oh, where did they go? They're 44th, so they're not bad. They're not elite though. They're not at quite that same level that maybe Missouri is when it comes to stopping the run. So when I woke up this morning, I actually did thought that, hey, I think Tennessee is going to win this game. But now I'm looking at, these key factors with Brady Cook and this passing attack and what it's been able to do. And not to mention they're going to be at home as well. I'm actually going to disagree with the model. The model believes that Tennessee is going to win and cover. And not only do I not believe that Tennessee is going to cover, so 1.5, I think Missouri is going to win this game. I think Missouri is going to come out and prove some doubters wrong, and maybe ends the hope of Tennessee going to Atlanta, finally shutting that door. I think Missouri ends up winning this game. I think it's going to be a close one, though. A game that is certainly going to be intriguing for sure.